Welcome back. This part of the forum will focus on Pittsburgh City Council Districts 2 and 4. I will repeat the rules of the format. They're the same ones that apply to the school board. Each candidate will answer questions and give a closing statement. Straws were drawn earlier by the League of Women Voters Committee to determine the order in which the candidates will speak. The candidates will have a chance to answer each question, with each person having 1 minute to respond. There will be no time given for rebuttals. If a candidate wishes to respond to another candidate's statement, he or she will need to use time from the answer to the next question. So use your time wisely. I will be asking the questions in a rotating manner so that each candidate will have the chance to be the first to answer a question within the given time frame set by the League of Women Voters. Questions have been gathered from a variety of sources and have been reviewed for relevance to the position being sought and also for duplication, clarity, and civility. Candidate answers will be timed. Now, this is very important, so listen up, everyone. You have 1 minute. Make sure you get your answer in within 1 minute, because when your time is up, someone from the League of Women Voters will mute your mic. Remember, these candidates are your friends and neighbors who have stepped forward to serve their community. Now, I will ask the question just once. This is who you will hear from tonight for Pittsburgh City Council from District 2, incumbent and President Teresa Cale Smith and Jacob Williamson. From District 4, Bethany Cameron and incumbent Anthony Coghill. Let's begin with the first question to all of the candidates. What type of action will you take to keep people from moving away from the city when data shows thousands of Black Pittsburghers have left in the past couple of years, and Pittsburgh has been ranked the worst livable city for Black women? Teresa Cale Smith of District 2 will answer first.
Hi, I think that, well, there's a lot of efforts going on currently within the city, and we're working on things with our commission to make sure that we're addressing some of the disparities and some of the things that are occurring in the city. But personally, we've been doing more to entice people into our home ownership and to into jobs in the city of Pittsburgh. And we've been doing a lot of outreach. We opened an employment center within our district. We've and that's with the Porter Project in Sheridan. We've done more to work with the administration, but the money coming in for from the federal help that we have coming. I'm on a task force with Reverend Burgess and Councilman Lavelle, and we'll make sure that some of those priorities, that will be a priority of this funding coming in. And so I'm eager to see what all we can do with funding. We're waiting the guidelines for that. And we should know more by tomorrow what those guidelines will be.
Thank you for your answer. Now let's move on to Jacob Williamson of District 2.
Thanks for the question. I deeply believe that when individuals thrive, communities flourish. And that's the kind of work that I want to be about. And I think that can be, there are many avenues to helping people thrive. Specific to wanting to help people stay in Pittsburgh or move to Pittsburgh, I think home ownership is the key here. We know that less than half of all Pittsburghers, I think it's 48%, actually own their own home. And certainly there are people who want to be renting, but I want to be about helping people own their own home, the people who want to. So to that end, I think we need to lower the realty transfer stamp tax as much as possible for first-time home buyers. Right now it's 5%. It's the highest in the country, and I think that's ridiculous. We want to attract people to own their own homes, and I think one way to do that is to lower that tax.
Thank you so much for your answer. Bethany Cameron of District 4, please answer the question.
Almost forgot to unmute, because 15 months in and that's still where I am. Thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much for this forum. Chandi, thank you so much for moderating. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. In terms of actions that I would take if elected to city council to keep Black Pittsburgh home, I would have to say we need to focus on how Pittsburgh is not livable, because we talk a lot about how it is, but the fact is it's really not for some people. And we know that by the mayor's own study, Black women make 54 cents on the dollar to a white man, and that's not livable. period. And we know minimum wage hasn't changed in what, over a decade. So we got a lot of things to work on. We need to address our painful history, repair that damage, and move forward with some restorative justice. Make sure that Black and brown Pittsburghers feel safe on the streets and on the parkway, and work to make Pittsburgh livable for everyone.
Thank you so much for your answer. Anthony Coghill of District 4, you'll now answer the question.
Thank you, Chandi. And again, thanks to the League of Women Voters for holding this format. I'll start with saying I live on the border of Dormont, which is a suburb in Pittsburgh, okay? And my number one thing for people to live in the city of Pittsburgh, or to attract them to live in the city of Pittsburgh, I think number one is making sure we don't keep raising taxes on them. You know, we recently just had a parks tax enacted. And, you know, it's easy to find an affordable home in Dormont or some of the suburbs around me. So I'm about keeping taxes as low as we can and not raising taxes. Secondly, I will say, you know, for the most part, we have good, beautiful homes in my district, but, you know, I think good paying jobs in the city of Pittsburgh is a way to keep our Black community in the city of Pittsburgh. And we talk about affordable housing and investing money into there. I also want to invest money into good, affordable, you know, good, affordable jobs. So.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to our next question. What will you do to improve police-community relations in the city? And what are your thoughts on police reform? This time we'll begin with Jacob Williamson of District 2.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is such an important topic. I don't think it's the case that we can flip a switch and get rid of the police, regardless of where a person might necessarily be on that issue. Just a really quick story. I was visiting a friend in Sheridan, and when I drove up, I saw first responders, 2 police cars and an ambulance. And when I got out of my vehicle, I learned that a woman had just overdosed. The first responders left, her boyfriend was there to take care of her, and he said to her, "Your heart stopped. Your heart stopped." I heard that conversation in this car in Sheridan. And the people who weren't there were social workers, were people to provide a safety net for this individual. So I think in terms of improving police relations, I think it actually begins with community policing. I think it begins with us knowing who our first responders are, but also it doesn't always make sense for a police officer to show up whenever 911 is called.
Thank you so much for your time. Bethany Cameron of District 4, please answer that question.
Thanks, Chandi. So I think that the first priority to improve relationships between the police and the community is to make sure the police are doing their jobs and not the jobs of people that go to like graduate school and PhD programs and such, because those are the folks that are qualified to treat those with substance use issues and with mental health issues, domestic violence issues. So we're sending police in to solve problems that we don't equip them to solve. We just say, hey, here's another societal problem. You guys go ahead and you'll handle it, right? Because we admire you so much. That's not fair to anybody. It's not getting the results that we need. It's not fair to police who didn't sign up for that work. And it's certainly not fair to communities who don't feel safe. I have mentioned this before, but one of my son's best friends does not feel safe interacting with police, and he's 9. And I want to change that now.
Thank you so much for your answer. Anthony Coghill, District 4, you'll now answer the question.
Thank you, Chandi. I first want to say I have a great deal of respect for our police officers, and I've said it to many people. I really think they did a fantastic job throughout all the protests. Did have some incidents that we need to look into, and we are looking into, but for the most part, I think they did a really good job. Secondly, I will say it starts with recruiting and it starts with training, okay, for police reform, whatever that looks like. I'm not claiming to have the answers as to what reform and new tactics look like, but I do know I don't want Minneapolis to happen here in Pittsburgh. And I do know that most police officers, and the ones that I know, are good people, and they don't want to discharge their firearm. So we have to look at ways that perhaps the police, we can give duties to, I don't want to say social workers will be going on domestic calls, because that's never know what you're getting into there. But I look forward to those conversations. I want to be a big part of police reform. I think I bring two really good perspective to the table.
Thanks for your time. And Teresa Kale Smith of District 2, please answer the question.
Thank you. It's a really great question and a really important topic everyone's talking about now. And we've talked about it several times on council. I think that for me, as I get a better picture of everything that's going on, I think part of it, the screening has to occur during the hiring process of our police. I think training is great, but our police are trained pretty well. But I think that there needs to be more screening on the front end as we're hiring our officers. And I do agree with the part about having social workers coming in to address issues that a police officer could, better spend their time doing something with maybe a violent crime or some other area of the, neighborhoods they might need to be at. But I think that for our police, some of the things that we had seen, when I get calls in the middle of the night, and I do get calls in the middle of the night, I go down into Sheridan or into the Elliott or into Westwood, wherever I'm getting the phone calls, and go see what's going on. And sometimes when I pull up and a social worker is needed, a social worker is not always showing up. So I think that.
Thank you so much for your time. Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. What is your plan for people to have affordable housing and home ownership opportunities in all city neighborhoods? Bethany Cameron of District 4, please answer that question.
Affordable housing and home ownership, was that the second part of it?
Yes.
Thank you. Just making sure I didn't write it down yet. My ADHD brain is like, I have to write it down. Okay. Thank you so much for the question. So I think when it comes to affordable housing, we do have a tremendous amount of great housing stock in South Pittsburgh. Ask me how I know. Oh, it looks like my things froze for a second. Am I okay?
Okay.
So what we need to do is help homeowners or renters like me who aspire to be homeowners invest in repairs to keep the housing stock that we have that's in really good condition, in good condition. We also have just an opportunity to do so much. We have so many locations that are near public transit. So if we are able to provide folks a bit of assistance, especially after, I don't know, a year and a half of burning through savings because there was a pandemic, we're going to find that folks are able to make Pittsburgh home and stay home. Thanks.
Thanks for that answer. Anthony Coghill of District 4, it's your turn.
Thank you, Chandi. Yeah, I bought my first home when I think I was 28 years old. And I think when I purchased that home, it was a fixer-upper, and I was paying less in my mortgage as most people were paying in rent at the time. So I'm a big promoter of home ownership. We do have the Affordable Care Act that we put $10 million through the URA into and helping people stay in their homes for repairs. But I would love to see that come into the South Hills. We have a lot of rundown, city-owned, abandoned properties. And for the land bank can never get their act together, we can look at getting people into these homes. And, I think when you purchase a home, you have a lot of pride in it and you want to take care of it. And it creates wealth for you and for, your children. So they actually have something to own. I am a big proponent of home ownership. At the same time, it's changing. Even our districts over here are getting more expensive by the day.
Thank you so much. Teresa Kell Smith of District 2, please answer the question.
I'm actually excited to answer this question. I think that we do a lot in terms of affordable housing in the city of Pittsburgh. I just heard that somebody mentioned about the tax. Well, that tax brings in funding to help rebuild homes in the city of Pittsburgh. It gives us money to help our people that stay in their homes. It helps us to get people into affordable home ownership, and it helps with rental assistance and building new construction. So it does a lot of things. I'm happy to serve on that board. But one of the things that we do also is we work on stabilization programs in our district separate from the Affordable Housing Opportunity Fund. And we have stabilization programs in several of our neighborhoods, Crafton Heights, Sheridan, Elliott. There's several of them. And so I think that's one of the things that we focus on, and we work with a lot of domestic violence survivors and getting them into some of those homes. So I think there's a lot of things that we do in terms of home ownership, and I'm proud to be part of what we do.
Okay, thanks for your answer. Jacob Williamson of District 2, it's your turn. Answer the question, please.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about the 5% realty transfer stamp tax, and the councilwoman mentioned it in her answer. Also, I believe that it's 5% is the highest in the country. And yeah, some of the percentages, city council raised it in order for those some of that money to go to the URA. But it's ridiculous, I think, that literally thousands of dollars are being pushed in the faces of first-time home buyers, and they can't buy their homes because they can't afford that money. I agree with Anthony that we have all of these properties that are abandoned or condemned, and they're just sitting there. City council is doing nothing with them. And I think it's disgusting, quite frankly, that the land bank has done nothing since 2014. And my opponent, it sits on the board. My question is, what have you been doing? We have all of this housing stock that is sitting vacant. We have people who want to live here, who want to work here, and yet they can't. Friends of mine who are trying to buy a home right now are being outpriced by $50,000 over the asking price currently. It's ridiculous.
Thank you for your time. Now we'll move on to our next question. This is it. How will you ensure the city budget drafting process is transparent and shaped by direct public input? Anthony Coghill of District 4 will be the first to answer this question.
Yep. So we just had a public meeting the other day, I think it was yesterday, about surplus funds from the federal government and how we're going to direct those funds. I have been in business for 30 years. I live my life where if I don't have the money for it, I don't buy it. So, as far as my spending, thoughts go, I'm very conservative when it comes to spending money. I don't like to throw money into something that I don't feel is productive or useful. So I think I bring a lot to the table with that. And running your own business, you learn that the hard way. And I learned that the hard way many times. So I look to be on any of those conversations. And of course, making it transparent. We have a lot of issues with the city of Pittsburgh and a lot of needs. And, I just want to make sure that those funds go to the right places and are effective as to what we use them for.
Thank you for your answer. Teresa Kell Smith of District 2, please answer the question.
So with the budget, I'll be sitting on the task force for the budget and for making recommendations. And I know that we are going to focus on some of the things that we just talked about tonight. And so I think that I always make sure that our land bank meetings are televised. So if you want to know what's going on there, you can watch those. And you can see the progress that they are making and where stumbling blocks have happened. We also make sure our budget meetings are televised, but we also go out into the community to hear from people. And I think with this new funding coming in, we're going to make sure that there's a rigorous public process involved. But we have to remember, we hear from people outside of meetings. We hear from people, thousands of people call our office. And so we hear a lot of things and what people want to have happen. So we document a lot of that as well.
Thank you so much. Okay, Jacob Williamson, District 2, it's your turn to answer the question, please.
I'm a firm believer in the reality of subsidiarity, that the people at the local level know best because they're the ones who are living it. And I think we have to put a rigorous process in place in order to listen and learn from the people who are residents here in Pittsburgh. Now, that might be like the $100,000 question, right? Like, how do we actually engage well with all of the residents whenever, frankly, some people just want to be left alone? I think that's a great question. I think community meetings are so important. We just in District 2, we have 17 neighborhoods, 17 of Pittsburgh's 90. And just recently, even before COVID, we haven't been having community meetings in all of our neighborhoods. And I don't understand why. So I believe for budget transparency purposes and other reasons, I think community meetings is where it starts and then it funnels up. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for answering the question. Bethany Cameron of District 4, it's your turn.
Thanks so much, Chandi. So, I think that when it comes to the city budget, it's showing where our priorities are, of course. And for the last several years, District 4 has gotten 2% of the city's entire budget. That's the lowest of any council district. And so, I'm a single mom, so I'm not buying stuff I can't afford either, but I'm no wealthy business owner, but I don't consider investments in public works and infrastructure throwing money away. I really don't. I think that that's the investment that we need to make. in our communities, in our neighborhoods, and in the future. Because, you know, when it comes down to it, my son is 9 years old. And so in another 9 years, I want him to hopefully, first of all, move out. Second of all, you know, potentially have an adulthood where, you know, he's got the opportunities and he's not worried about maybe a house sliding off of a hill or something like that. I also really feel strongly about when it comes to budget, city council is oversight. We need to see a better job of that oversight.
Okay, thank you. Now, this next question focuses on priorities. If you could make one change in the city, what would it be? Teresa Kell-Smith of District 2, you're first.
I actually have made a lot of changes that I wanted to see when I was, as I went along in office. We created the Clean and Lean Crew, which cleans up vacant properties. We started a grass cutting program that helps veterans, seniors, and disabled people have their grass cut for free in the city. We started a I'm trying to think what else we started some e-recycling program to help people with recycling. And there's just a lot of different things that we started, but there's a lot more that I'd like to see happen. Permitting is an issue that is one of my concerns, but I think it's because of a lot of our things that happen in the city surround what happens with the permits. That's one of the things, but honestly, there's a lot that I'd like to see, you know, done differently, and some things I like to see expanded that we do really well. So I think it's going knowing what those things are and prioritized for our district.
Thank you for your answer. Now let's move on to Jacob Williamson, District 2.
This is an easy one for me. When I bought my home in Crafton Heights in the west part of Pittsburgh, I got the impression that our part of the city, the west part of Pittsburgh, just seemed to be forgotten. And I wasn't sure if that was true, or if it was true, why it was true. So I dug into the budgets, the capital budgets specifically, and I was shocked to find that over the last 6 years, City Council has allocated less than 5% of the capital budget to our district. The capital budget's the fun one. That's the one that provides for streets and alleys and sidewalks for children, for senior citizens, and people-centered projects. And it's clear to me that this part of Pittsburgh, the 32,000 of us who live on this side of the point, we've been forgotten. And I don't think that's right. My priority is to fight for our fair share of city dollars and resources. Look, I'm not saying that we need to be better than East Liberty or Bloomfield or Highland Park. I love those places. But I am saying that we need to be on equal footing. And I'm going to fight for our fair share of city dollars and resources.
Thank you for your answer. Bethany Cameron, District 4, please answer.
Yeah, I left the mouse on the mute button so I could just click it. Okay. The little things in life. If I had to, I guess, make one specific change, I would stop forcing our police officers to respond to substance abuse calls. There are folks that are trained, as I said, who have fancy degrees to do that kind of work, and it is not okay. You know, the story Jacob told earlier, that we have police that are, I don't know, forced to try to convince people to seek drug treatment. That's not a good solution. It's, you know, if we want to solve problems, we can look at what the results we're getting now are and decide if those are the results we want to keep getting. And those aren't the results that I want to keep getting. And if I or some of my family ever, God forbid, had a drug problem, I would really, really want to make sure that it's harder to avoid getting assistance and resources than it is, you know, impossible to find them the way that it is now. So if I had to do one thing, I would stop overburdening police with drug calls. Okay,
thank you. Anthony Coghill, District 4, it's your turn.
Thank you, Chandi. That's an easy one for me, Chandi. I come from a building background. My platform when I ran for office was getting back to basics. And that means road repair. That means, you know, abandoned buildings. That means a public works division that I brought back. I think I've been very successful with it. I think I still have a long way to go. But, you know, I will dispute what Ms. Cameron said about not bringing, you know, resources back to the district. I think my record stands to any council person who's been in my seat for the past 50 years. I think I've brought more back, and I continue to do that. I'll just rattle a few off for you. Moore Park's getting a new swimming pool, over $1 million. Public Works Division, going to be close to about $2.5 million, okay, that I brought back, which was lost under the former councilwoman. Brookline Park, we're doing renovations there that are making a state-of-the-art deck hockey rink. Paving, I've got more paving done than any other council person ever before me. Demolition, I've gotten 3 major demolition projects done that the former administration could not get done. In fact, lost the money for it. So, you know, I got lots more to do.
Thank you for your time. Okay, this will be our last question of the night. Do you think the city of Pittsburgh should commit dedicated revenue to the Port Authority? Why or why not? This time we'll begin with Jacob Williamson, District 2.
Thanks for the question. This, in all honesty, is not a question that I have thought through at all. And so I'm not prepared to give a statement, and I would want to read more about why people would want that or why people would not want that. Now, just generally speaking, I think it's a public utility sort of deal. Like, do we want to throw money toward private or public spaces? And my gut says, yeah, like that makes sense. Transportation is incredibly important, especially, you know, here in District 2, that 96% of all of our land is further than a half mile from a grocery store. I think that's ridiculous. So you need transportation in order to get places. But in order to give in a very thorough answer, I would want to look at the budgets specifically in order to see what the ramifications would be.
Thank you so much for your answer. Bethany Cameron, District 4, it's your turn.
Thank you so much. So I will start with that one. So essentially, when it comes to public transportation that is run, you know, at the county level, which is a step above us, and when it comes to bringing in more revenue for that, we're really going to be looking at pushing the state to bring that revenue home. So that's what I'd be focusing on, not as much shelling out the city dollars towards the public transit, but yeah, lobbying the folks that have a lot more money than us. Now, in general, and I will say, and I appreciate the councilman so much, but I do have to, disagree that regardless of what he's brought home to the district, it's, what Jacob is saying is 5% for their district, it's 2% for ours. So, I still have damage on my car from a snowstorm, that 1/3 of plow truck drivers showed up for. So, and our new public works building doesn't have a salt dome. So those are the basics that I will cover when I'm elected to city council. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. Anthony Coghill, District 4, it's your turn.
Okay, well, I'd like to say the salt dome is the least of the worries for the public works building. We can get a salt dome there. We can get a salt pile there. That's the least of the worries. Getting that building built was the most important factor that I had done. So back to your question, Chandi, I will say, the state subsidizes the Port Authority. We rely heavy on state. The Port Authority works in a deficit. They are not a profitable company. They're not a for-profit company. However, the city can be partners with them, like I am in Beachview. We're putting the first raised platform, ADA accessible, stop there. And it's the first in the country that's not on a main street like Broadway Avenue. Beachview, where I live and I represent, is the only part of the city where the T actually runs down Main Avenue still. Once in a while in Arlington or up on Warrington Avenue when they have to use it for emergencies. But yeah, we work with the state, we work with the Port Authority as partners, but no, financially, we don't put it into the pot.
Okay, thank you. Teresa Kell Smith of District 2, please answer the question.
Thank you. There's so much to say in so little time, but I'll just say that, today we had a meeting on Grandview Avenue with the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, and I think that it was really important to have him there and seeing what we have in District 2, which is different modes of transportation in District 2 with the inclines, and we have the Gateway Clipper fleet. And there's just so many other things that we have in our district for alternative modes, including increasing our bike lanes in our area, but through our trail system, not directly on the road, but I will say that 90% of our residents have vehicles. We have one of the districts with the highest vehicle ownership. And so I think that transportation is really critical, but on the grander scale of things for our district, I would work with our state partners, which we do, and obviously with our federal partners, as they did today, everyone coming together to try to figure out what the best ways are to help our people with jobs and transportation in the city of Pittsburgh.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we'll have closing statements, starting with Anthony Coghill.
I just want to thank you again for having this format. I just want to say to the people in the 4th District, I would appreciate your support and your vote. I started the job 3.5 years ago now, and we've made a lot of progress. We're literally rebuilding the 4th district, and you can see it right in front of your eyes. And I say to people all the time, it's not always what you see. Sometimes it's what you don't see. Abandoned buildings and Main Street buildings that are falling to pieces that I've had removed. There's a resurgence in Beachview. It is really a place to be right now. The property values are going up. That's good in ways and that's bad in ways, but it's becoming a desired neighborhood to live, and it's not a secret anymore. Brookline is one of the best neighborhoods in all the city of Pittsburgh. I will say the best neighborhood. And we've got lots and lots of things to do up in Carrick, okay? There's Berg Place, a huge development that I am taking on this term, already in the works, already talking to the mayor about having the right developer come in and doing the right thing. Thank you, I'd appreciate your support.
Thank you for your time. Now, Bethany Cameron.
Thanks so much, Chandi. Thanks, League of Women Voters. Thanks, VEEEM. Thanks to the Black Political Empowerment Project for hosting this debate tonight. So I just want to say, I'm Bethany. I'm a single mom of a Concord Elementary student, and he went back to school for the first time in 15 months this week. So I feel like I can relate quite a bit to what families in Pittsburgh are dealing with these days. You know, our city's been mismanaged. And I think especially from the 2nd and 4th districts, I think here's something we can probably all agree on. We're not getting enough south and west of the city of Pittsburgh, period. And we need to essentially not pretend that the scraps that we're getting are enough to fill our needs. So what I want to do is stop settling for scraps and make Pittsburgh work, not for a select few, but for everybody. Thank you again so much for having me. Vote Bethany.
Thank you for your time. Jacob Williamson, your turn.
Thank you. Just echoing the gratitude of my colleagues here. Thanks for hosting this forum. For the last 10 years, I have served and supported people who have experienced homelessness, youth, and families. I know what it takes to speak up for those people who don't have a voice or who don't think they have a voice. Here in the west part of Pittsburgh, it's abundantly clear to me and probably anyone who looks around that our part of the city has just been forgotten. Now, a common definition of insanity is to do something over and over again and to expect a different result. And here we have an opportunity to change. We have someone in office who has been in office for 12 years and who is city council president, and yet we are still 7th out of 9 when it comes to the capital budget. It's time for change. It's time for somebody to fight for you, and that's what I want to do. I'm going to fight for our fair share of city dollars and resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Teresa Kelsman, your turn.
Thank you. And I want to thank you all for hosting this forum again as well. I just will say that I've raised my family for 35 years in District 2. I volunteered with a diverse group of people across the area for all those years that I was here. I didn't just start yesterday. I didn't just move to the district a couple of years ago. I've been here for 35 years, and I have been putting my blood, sweat, and tears into the community, working alongside some of the most amazing leaders. Some people see blight and negativity. Some people see beauty. And when I look at District 2, I see a lot of amazing things and a lot of beauty. I also know that there's work to be done, and there's been a lot of work to be done. And we've been working and chipping away at it. And I hope that the voters will realize that and come on May 18th that they remember that we were not that we didn't get 5% of the budget. We actually got a lot more. It's just you have to know how to read the budget. And what I will say is what we were is #1 last year in the capital projects for District 2. And so you can say it's not true, but the budget director told you directly. So I will just say for that, I hope that people continue to vote for us. For me.
Thank you for your time. And that ends our community candidate forums for tonight. To find more information about the candidates and the state and local ballot questions, go to the League of Women Voters online voters guide at vote411.org. That's vote411.org. Type in your home address and all ballot questions and all candidates on your personal ballot appear. Now the primary is Tuesday, May 18th. Vote in person or make sure that your mail-in ballot is received by May 18th. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh, the Black Political Empowerment Project, Voter Empowerment Education Enrichment Movement, and other nonpartisan sponsors, thank you. This forum is the property of the League of Women Voters of Greater Pittsburgh and can be found in its entirety on the League's Facebook page. I would like to thank all of our candidates for participating in this forum tonight. Thank you for allowing me to be your moderator for this event. And don't forget the primary, May 18th again. That's the date you need to think about. To everyone watching online, thank you for your attention and have a great night.